getting ready for Ole Miss. They're a team that really hasn't given up, kind of like a lot of teams in our league. I look back to they've had injuries and they've had sickness and they've had some things, but they're actually playing some of their better basketball right now. If you take a look at the last 7 games, they beat Florida pretty good at home. They lost to Arkansas. People are going to do that. They won at LSU. And then they lost in overtime at Florida. So we know what that's like. They lose at home to Alabama and South Carolina in overtime on a last second shot, and they just go to Georgia and win. So, it's a team that's capable, obviously very well coached. They got 7 guys that can make the three, and they're shooting 3rd in the league right now in 3-point percentage at 36%. And so I think that's what makes them dangerous. That's what made Florida, dangerous. And obviously in late game situations, Florida lined us up and pulled on us in late games and made some tough 3 balls. And I think you're going to see that from people because of our interior defense. So that's going to be a huge part of our defense and our focus. Joyner and Morrell are great individual one-on-one players and great jump shot makers. And even with contest, Morrell shooting 43% from 3. And, Joyner, we didn't see Joyner the first time. He's in, Ruffin's out. So kind of bit of a trade. So I think defending the 3 ball is going to be important. And then Ole Miss guarding their offense. They do a really, really good job. They've got great half-court sets, and it requires a great deal of effort and energy, to be able to guard them. Defensively, we were good again against Florida, but we have not been at our best on the offensive end the last couple of weeks.
All right, guys, if you have a question, put it in the chat. We're going to start with a question from Justin Ferguson.
Bruce, you guys have had some really slow starts on offense these last few weeks. Can you kind of point to a certain reason, anything that kind of connects them, the defenses, or just what's been going on early in games on offense?
I just think it's combination of us not executing. As the season progresses and the scouting reports get more detailed, and even in particular, as you play an opponent for the second time, you've got to be able to change some things up. And while I thought, and I've given the kids a lot of credit for the fact that how locked in and bought in they've been throughout the year, scouting report after scouting report, as we begin to try and put in some of the intricacies to build on the basics of our offense to be harder to guard, we've not done as well, and we're not executing, so that's that could be part of it. And I think the other thing too is our shooting percentage. You go back and look at things. We've turned the ball over some live ball turnovers, but we just need to keep trying to shoot. Jabari's shooting the ball great, but we as a team haven't shot it as well. And so just as we talked about, if you think back to me maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, talked about, hey, when we start playing our best, it's when we start to get hot. If we can start making shots from 3 and free, and we haven't done that.
Mark Murphy.
Yeah, Bruce, I wanted to ask you, are you happy with the looks you're getting as a team from 3-point range? And you guys are like 32% now. What do you think this team can shoot from 3 realistically if they start playing a little better in that area?
I mean, that's an area we need to definitely shoot better from. And we can always get better looks. We got to make a higher percentage of the ones we get that are open. And sometimes it can be one of the things that is a difference maker. Again, Florida made 5 or 6 really tough contested lay shots in the shot clock that won the game. And, you know, we're going to continue to work at it. And when we start making some of those shots, we'll be playing better.
Bennett Durando.
Yeah, in Oxford, it took, I think, 17 or 18 minutes for you guys to force a turnover. Ole Miss had a really strong offensive first half. You mentioned they had Joyner now. What are you sort of emphasizing in terms of how to guard them and what sort of needs to improve this time?
Yeah, they've got, you know, their guards fly around, and they're really meticulous in their offensive execution. And you know, they were on pace early in our game, you know, to score, you know, a lot of points. They had 15 in the first 5 minutes. They had 27 in the first 10 minutes. They had 35 in the first 12 minutes. And they had 44 and a half, shooting 57%. They shot it great. But to our credit, we had a good offense. We had a great offensive day. We scored 80. We shot 50%. We shot it well for 3 for the foul line. We had a good day. We had 18 assists, 16 turnovers. We were playing better offensively the last time we played Ole Miss. And you just look at the stat sheet, look at the numbers. So, as I said, we've got to really lock into how to guard Ole Miss, because excellent half-court offensive team. And then the other thing, of course, that they do is, because they'll play man, they'll play the 1-3-1, they'll play the 2-3, and they'll change defenses. They give you a lot to prepare, a lot to work on in the days leading up to the contest.
Tobias Wilborn.
Bruce, what's the toughest thing about a practice after a loss, particularly a tough loss? And hope you're doing well today, man.
Thank you. I'm doing good. You know, typically those are pretty good days, because, you know, you're trying to get that taste out of your mouth. And so I thought our guys practiced really well yesterday. And we got a lot of good things done. You know, our guys, they want to win a championship, and they know they got 4 games left in the regular season, and we got 4 tough games, and so they practiced, they competed, they're communicating with each other. So that's you know, I tell you, and I told him yesterday, I was sitting there and I was looking at the standings, that we had the standings up. And I was looking at the teams that were at 7-7 in our league. And I don't know, about 5 of them. It was LSU, it was Alabama, South Carolina, Mississippi State. There might be one other. You get those standings in front of you, Marlene? Anyways, and I looked at it and I was like, guys, it is right here. Alabama, LSU, Florida, Mississippi State, South Carolina, all at 7-7. I didn't go there, but you know, where I went was, gosh, there's some good teams in there. I mean, you know, Alabama, LSU, you know, Florida just beat us. We got to go to Mississippi State. You know, South Carolina's playing better right now. There are really, really good teams in there. And there are some teams at 7-7 that are already in, that, like everybody's saying, are in. Like LSU's in, Alabama's in. Florida now is probably in, where they're beating us. It just kind of makes you appreciate what our guys have done to this point. Makes me appreciate it.
Got a follow-up from Justin Ferguson.
Bruce, Jabari scored 59 in 2 games last week, outside of just the shooting, which was obviously really good. Did anything stand out for you from those games about just how he operated on offense?
He's just a competitor. I mean, he's just an absolute competitor. I mean, he just wants to win. That's all. And so, as you play, combination of when you play really good opponents, everyone on the court's challenged. Everybody's on the court. When you play a little bit of a lesser opponent, then there are some guys on the court that are going to have some lesser matchups, and maybe they can take advantage of them. But when you're playing like in the league and everybody's challenged at their matchup, that's when the great ones kind of are able to, rise, because they're better than their matchup. Jabari's better than his matchup every night. Now for us, the balance is, and we've said it all along, we're best when everybody contributes, and we are. And so, we need Jabari to keep doing what he's doing, but not to the point where he's got to carry us. Part of the reason why he's had the point production the last couple of games is, in a way, he's had to carry us a little bit because some of the other guys haven't played as well as they've played, and we need them to continue to play for us to be a championship team.
We're going to wrap you up.
Everybody wanted Jabari to be more aggressive, and they all wanted him to do more, right? And I was never pushing that. He's doing more right now because he has to right now. And when we all start picking up a little bit and playing a little better, then he can continue to be really productive, but not have to carry us.
Coach, we're going to wrap you up with a follow-up from Bennett Durando.
Yeah, Bruce, I was sort of just curious. I know there's been a lot of sort of talk among coaches the last couple of days about handshake lines and whether they should be abandoned, or if there's anything that college basketball needs to do about that. Curious your thoughts on that. Is there anything that college basketball needs to do with that at all?
Yeah, if you look at the players, when the players are, forget about the coaches, look at the players. They're dapping each other. They're hugging each other. When you get done, if you ever watch boxing, and these guys are in the ring beating the brains out of each other, how in the world could they embrace after they just been slugging each other? Because they're competitors, because they're warriors, because they respect the opponent. And so for me, when I see that, I think it's great how the kids, just dap each other once the game's over. And so I don't think there's any reason to do away with a handshake line. Obviously, emotions in that situation at Wisconsin got high, and the coaches didn't handle it, as well. I've been in those situations. I've made mistakes, and nobody's pointing any fingers. We're all, but I think that I'm not a favor of getting rid of those handshake lines, and I think it's a good opportunity to once the game's over to demonstrate sportsmanship.
Sorry, I got one more quick follow-up from Tobias Wilborn.
Well, Bruce, you actually kind of led me into what I was going to ask. What has been a situation or two that has been maybe an intense or stressful situation? How did you handle it? And then how do you wish you would have handled it now that you know more?
I mean, I just look, game's over. You go shake hands and go in your locker room. So I've been in, a lot of situations that, that aren't perfect. And, but you just do the best you can and try to do the right thing.
Talking a little trash on the field? Yeah, we get it. Trashing the state with litter? That's terrible. Keep it clean. Keep Alabama beautiful.